My name is John Brink, and we are podcasting on the Brink from downtown Prince George, British Columbia, Canada. And for all those people watching us from around the world, they say, okay, we know where Canada is, and how about British Columbia? It's on the west coast, right? Right. And then we are 500 miles north of Vancouver, or for our European friends, 800 kilometers. Today we got a unique podcast because we have a local celebrity here, and his name is Russell Floyd. And Russell is a farrier. And what does a farrier mean? A farrier deals with horse hoofs in particular. The other part about Russell is he's married to Tanya, and she is a veterinarian. And so what a combination, Russell. And so Russell has been doing this for many, many years. He worked on Vancouver Island for quite a period, and we'll talk about that as well. And now he's established in northern British Columbia, and he will tell us all about the profession, the trades of farrier, and then a lot of things about horses, obviously, and what else we have in common is myself, my wife, we are into horses. We ride dressage. We have a riding arena in North Saanich on the Vancouver Island, and so we have 7 horses as well. We'll talk about those, and we have a lot of other things in common as well. We used to have our horses here in Prince George, rode on at Lana's place. The name of Lana's place is, what was the name?
Rosenall.
Yep. Yeah, and so we had a lot of people. So tell us about yourself, Russell. How did you get into horses and horse-related issues, and then in particular farrier?
I think, I grew up Vancouver Island, small town. Honeymoon Bay was the town. It's right by Lake Cowichan.
Oh yeah, so that is in the northern part.
Kind of the middle. We're kind of inland of Duncan.
Okay.
So I grew up there, and I just always had it really started just for a love of the outdoors. Always liked hiking, hunting, swimming, fishing, camping.
Yeah.
And horses, I always just liked the Western culture. My dad watched Westerns, and I thought horses were a part of that. And I didn't know what a farrier was when I was younger, but I always liked horse riding and always went on school trips that went horse riding. My cousin had horses, got to ride with her a little bit. So I just liked it. And then I got into farriery, when I was about 16. I was at a friend's farm, and the farrier came. And
now, what is a farrier? People are saying.
Okay, a farrier's basically someone who puts shoes on horses' hooves, or cares for horses' hooves.
Why do they do that? I'm talking now like somebody that's not informed. So why would they want to do that? And the hoofs look so particular on horses, and so why would they want to put shoes on?
A usage thing. I mean, the main reasons you would shoe a horse is protection, traction, whether you're adding it or taking it away, and correction or therapeutic. So where shoeing started, actually, they say that the first farriers were part of the Genghis Khan, the Mongols that had they had those Mongolian horses, and it was their war machine in a sense.
Yeah.
So they were finding that
400 or 500 years ago or something.
I think is it maybe early 1300s or 1200, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Long time ago. But already they shoed their horses.
They before that they even tried to put on grass straps or leather straps or try to protect the hooves, because they were finding the more they used the hooves on rocky ground, the more the hooves wore down, horses got sore, and then horses were out of commission. So it was harder to feed them and care for them, especially if they didn't have a use back then. So they say the Genghis Khan regime or were some of the first people that put steel shoes on the horses.
Wow.
That's where that started. So ever since then, it was when horses built this country or part of Europe, anything that was a cavalry horse or a work horse or anything or a cobblestone delivery cart horse, which is the origin of a lot of warm bloods, was cart horses. So they worked day to day, and their hooves just wore down, and they needed to protect them. And with steel's just your lowest profile. Your blacksmith was able to craft steel and put a shoe on. It's not to say that every horse needs shoes. It's just that, when horses were more industry, they got used a lot more, and you needed to protect their feet or provide some sort of traction for their job.
Now, what some people say, and including us, and again for people watching, probably one of the most important part of a horse is his shoes or his feet or his hooves, as they call them. And in fact, when there is a problem with their hooves, and in some cases it becomes a question of putting the horse down because they can no longer function or be mobile.
Yes. Yep.
So that's why taking care of the hooves is so critically important, and it takes expertise to know it, to understand it, because it takes that extra talent to find, like what we want to do. We have 7 horses, Sharon and myself in North Sandwich, and we are very particular about who are working with our horses, in particular the hooves.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Like the old saying, no hoof, no horse.
Yeah.
I mean, they work on them all day long. Like they don't really get off of them. And the hoof is call it a biological composite. Under weight and pressure and work.
A lot of weight.
A lot of weight. It'll wear. It'll wear unevenly. It will wear down to where it's sensitive. So that's the reason to keep care of them.
Yeah.
It's a shift in the last, say, 50 years, 100 years. Horses have become more recreation than they have work.
Yeah.
So maybe, like, the horse's hoof is extremely tough, and you can use horses barefoot, and if you use them recreationally, you don't have to have shoes. You still should have hoof care and keep them balanced and make sure they don't chip or crack and those sorts of things.
So show us a shoe. What does it look like?
Well, this shoe, I brought you this one, and you can. I knew you had a barn, so you can hang it in your barn.
I like it.
So I brought this one because I knew you were also in logging.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a horse that a draft shoe or a draft horse would wear. It's got the big heel.
A draft horse is what?
Like a big workhorse.
Yeah. So that brings me to, I was born in northeastern Holland, and we have lots of farming there. And my uncles used to have farms, and they had horses, the big Belgian horses.
Yeah.
Is that what you call a draft horse?
Draft horse or a draught horse or a workhorse. So a Belgian, a Clydesdale, a Percheron. Yeah. So they plowed the fields, and then there was some horse logging that happened.
They used them for everything. Then when I was a kid, the 80 years ago. So that's all they had, and then. There was a major transition in their farm because they bought a little Ford tractor.
Oh, yeah.
But they had 4 horses, Belgians. And so that's what they did all their work with.
So this shoe is just a traditional workhorse. It's heavy,
Heavy.
And then
my goodness.
It's got the heel calkins on there, and that's for traction.
For traction.
And then this is a tow bar that's forge welded on there, and that's for traction. So anything like a plow horse or a logging horse, anything in soft ground, that's what you would traditionally make.
What would you say is the weight?
Oh, that's a couple pounds.
Yeah. So that's a lot. If I pick it up, it's a lot.
Oh yeah.
And so, but that's big. So this would be the.
That's it. So I brought that because I knew you were in the logging business. So I thought you would appreciate a more of what a workhorse that was logging would.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
So tell us more about.
So this one I handmade this one Like that's made out of just bar stock.
Oh my God!
That's a handmade shoe.
Yeah.
So that's what.
And your name is on it here. You know, so this is special for us. I appreciate that. So tell us more about it then, in terms of, you know, so what do you do then? You know, you have clients around the region. Mm-hmm. You have a mobile shop because with horses in particular, bringing them to a particular location would be difficult. They have to go in the trailer. So your business is a mobile business, and you likely operate in the whole region.
Yes, yeah. So most of my business is Prince George. Sometimes Quesnel. Once a week I usually go to Quesnel. Once in a while I go to Vanderhoof. But most of the work is right
50,
here.
60 miles or 100 kilometers away.
About that, about an hour and a half from home.
Yeah.
And then, it's just like you said, like I have a truck that's got like a little work body and a forge and an anvil and shoe racks and all that. So it's just like a mobile vet, just like a mobile service truck. So I you know, go out to farms and you know, horses have to get done on a cycle of 6 to 8 weeks because their hoof grows. Yeah. So, you know, a lot of my customers, you know, you build up a client base and it's a repeat.
You build clientele. A relationship not only with the client but with the horse.
Oh yes.
You know the horse because in all cases horses are independent, and different from others. The other part is that you know, you get very close to the horse, working with his feet and his legs, and you stand virtually on the side of the horse. You pick up his leg, and it's amazing how interactive. But for a lot of people say, "Oh my God, that is delicate," and but you know the horse knows you. They know what will happen. And as you said earlier, you develop that relationship.
Yeah, no, that's key. Is you know, you build up your client base. You know the horses. Right. You know the clients. You know how long it'll take you, and then you know the particulars. Like I don't build all of my shoes, but I try to build a large number of them. 50% are handmade. Wow. So some of my horses that are on a regular schedule, some of like Lana at Rosenall is a customer of mine. So some of her horses, I've done them regularly for a lot of years. I know exactly what size they are.
And Lana has been there with Rosenall and Prince George, just south of the city here. Has probably been in business for, I would think, at least 30 years, because we used to have our horses there. Okay. Yeah. So as well. Yeah. So I actually after this Tuesdays is usually my day. I go to her riding facility. So I have a couple horses this afternoon that I'll do for shoe for Lana. Yeah. So tell us more about being a farrier, and you've been involved on a national, provincial, regional level, and becoming farriers and competing really. And so you're being qualified as one of the most top farriers, likely in BC, if not Western Canada, in Canada, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's certification levels that you can follow. Canada and the U.S., there's no law. Like we're a small group, a small trade, so there's not necessarily a law or a requirement. In England, it's a mandatory 4-year apprenticeship program, and you have to mandatory, and in other parts of Europe it's the same. You have to do your 4-year apprenticeship like any other trade. You have to pass your competency exam, and then you're allowed to go out and work with horses and work on them. But in Canada, we're a little bit relaxed. There's no rule. You could be a plumber yesterday and decide you want to watch the online video and be a farrier tomorrow. There's nothing that's going to stop you from doing that. So, but there's a lot of us farriers, like I've been involved with the Western Canadian Farriers Association, right? And you know, that just like any profession, that's the professionals kind of go and take part in the association. And there is, through some of these associations, there is certification levels that you can do. So I've always learned along the certification path. I don't see why you would not ever do that. And I mean, I've definitely gone through a bunch of the levels, and then I've also done some of the UK levels as well, which is one of the higher standards in the world. So I've done that because, I mean, you every step along the way, it's a goal, and you've learned along the way. So that's one path that some farriers will follow, is the certification process. And then competitive farriery it's been around for a long time, and that's where, you know, you'll have a time limit, and you'll have to shoe your horse or build a traditional shoe to match what the judge did, and you learn, you know, your hand-eye coordination and your efficiency, and you know, all those skills, and that's another way to progress your skills farther. So we have a national team. We have the Canadian Farrier Team. They actually just landed in London yesterday, and
you've been part of that, right?
Yes, yeah. Through our associations in Canada, we have all the associations collaboratively hold the trials, and the top 4 will make the team that place at the trials, and then each year it's a different team. So I've qualified for the team 3 times.
Yeah.
And the team, there's a very prestigious competition in England, Stoneleigh, England, and it's been going for 50 years.
Yeah.
And so it's a national. You compete as a team, and you compete as a you know, in multiple classes, shoeing and forging, and they have only national teams. It's an invite only. There'll be probably 15 to 18 national teams. And, you know, so us Canadians, we've, you know, each year you go to the trials, our nationals, and you qualify. And then if you make it, you are on the team and you go to England. So that contest right now
highly
is
prestigious.
Very prestigious, yeah. Yeah. And horses in England are very, and parts of Europe are very, you know, almost very prestigious in a sense. So they take it very seriously.
Western Europe in particular. So like I was born in 1940, so I'm going to be 85 in the next month or so. Yep. And so when I grew up, most of my family was in farming. Okay. And as I said earlier, some of the farms where I used to go on holidays, they had 4 Belgian horses. And and then my sisters, my older sister in particular, was an international rider, English dressage in Western Europe. So horses always have been part of my life. And then obviously my wife, Sharon, she rides English dressage, and you know, so and so do I. Yep. And you know, so but I started late, well into my 70s. But you know, but I've always been around horses. Yep. They are amazing animals. And then the specialties, in particular, veterinarians. You know, the look after the well-being physically of the horse, like a doc does with people, have to be very knowledgeable. And Anya, that's your wife's name, right?
Yes, Anya. Anya, yep.
And she is a veterinarian, and so they have different specialties. Some are small animal veterinarians, and others are larger ones. What is Anya?
Anya is large animal.
Yeah.
But her expertise or her niche is actually like horse sports medicine.
Yeah.
So she's even more niche than large animal, because your average large animal vet will see, you know, cows and everything. But her specialty, she did an internship that focuses on the sports medicine of horses. So the dressage horse, the barrel racing horses, the jumping horses, and it's sports medicine. So she's quite niche in that.
You have quite a combination in this family, you know, with you and Anya, because you know, from my experience, I know. You know, the farriers are hard to find, you know, and then the same with veterinarians are difficult to find, the ones in particular that people feel comfortable with, because, you know, like horses, like with us, we have 7. We have 2 warm bloods, 1 Lusitano. The Lusitano is Portugal, but we bought it in Spain, and then we have 4 Andalusians as well. They're all older, and but we are very, very particular. They're part of your family virtually. And so it's all part of what we do, and but what I'm wondering about is that, and you already alluded to that, but has happened already in Western Europe when I grew up, right up to be in the 50s, 1950, 1960, when my sisters were riding on the European level, English dressage, and jumping was already very much part of, what they did. But it gradually built from there on, became more and more active, and now it's very active not only in England, Western Europe, as well as in Canada, in Canada here, and especially in Western Canada. I look at Langley in particular with Thunderbird, and High Point is another riding area, and then on the island, likely Langley is the cluster of most of the activity, and but also in northern Canada, but in particular Langley and southern British Columbia, and then the island as well, where we are. So more and more people are getting involved. So my question to you is that there is a shortage in a lot of cases of farriers and then veterinarians. So what are we doing to stimulate training? Because as you indicated, in Europe actually that you have to qualify, it's probably 4 years to be qualified as a veterinarian or a farrier, as well. And veterinarian is just like a normal dog going through that process and then developing specialties. Are we doing enough there? What can we do? And for people watching us, not only here in North America and in Canada, but also around the world, is saying, if they like to become involved, how do they do that? And then are we doing enough of training here in the area, like British Columbia being an example, on training farriers and veterinarians?
I think most of my wife's dinner and breakfast conversation is either cases or this exactly.
Right.
That's what happens. It's we don't talk about anything else but farrier and vet industry. And I would think there's two different things between the vet and the farrier. Farrier, there's a lot of aspects. It's hard work. We do have some schools. Langley has a school. Kwantlen and Olds in Alberta is a school, and there
you were trained at Olds.
I went to Olds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think as a farrier, there's multiple skills that you have to have. You have to have the skill of your trade. You have to marry the forge work and the iron work with the anatomy and physiology. So you have two aspects that you have to master. So that's going to take anywhere from 4 to even 10 years before you're quite good at it.
This is a work of art, to acquire that skill must be very hard.
It's a lot of work.
Okay, so go further.
But just like anything, like that takes time to master, and you're still constantly learning, and you still get new cases. But in the farrier part, I would say another crux is there's no established businesses. So there's a lot of farriers that probably lack business skill. So I think we get a lot of farriers that are good at the trade but can't run a business. And then when they can't run a business, because it is a business that demands people skills, horse skills.
It has to be, right?
It has to be.
Yeah.
So if you can't manage the people skills and the business and the money and the finance and those sorts of things, you'll end up driving truck or finding another trade, even though you were actually good at the physical trade.
Right.
So in Europe or in UK, a multi-farrier practice is a little more common. So your people that come out of school have a better place. Like school only gets you so far, and then you need a good, safe, reasonable work environment to sort of craft this. And
exactly.
In the UK, There might not be as much of a shortage because there is a few more established clinics where multiple farriers maybe have a forge and they have a couple trucks and they go out. I think that model works well to retain a few people in the industry. Here in North America, I think farriers are very kind of lone wolves, so to speak. And if you don't kind of master a bit of your business and figure out, after 20, 30 years, your body burns down a little and you keep learning and your body's burning down. You can't do the same workload. If you haven't planned for that, that's also a crux. So I think if we could have better business skills in farriery, I would think that we can give more people places to work throughout, their career.
So what I see, Russell, is that if I look at you and your success, the first thing that you already indicated, you grew up on Vancouver Island, Mid-Island, in that area. Your family was into nature. You grew up as part of nature. Horses were part of your life right from the beginning. You loved it. And then you developed from there on in the like for becoming a farrier. You went to Olds, which is a learning school in Alberta. You got the base there, and then circumstances brought you further and further and further, because you were not necessarily trained as part of becoming a farrier in financial management, and particularly not of those, that particular quality or that particular trade sets. And then, it takes one more part of it. You have to understand people, as you do in all business. Communication skills, critically important. But you also have to understand horses and larger, in particular horses of all descriptions. You have to know them in order to work with them, which is a special skill set again. And then you have to be able to communicate with veterinarians, because as you see difficulty, that directly the hooves are the most important part, I believe, of the horse. Usually where the horse no longer can function well, and in some cases is put down because of lack of good management of his hoofs. Very, very difficult, very, very delicate. So what I see from my experience and what we see now, not only in North America but around the world, is that England obviously went the further step. Western Europe did too, not here. So what do we do? Because increasingly, more and more, horses will become part of what people like to be part on their lives, because it's immensely rewarding. Is that how can we bring the skill sets that you and Anya, your wife, have in terms of being not only a nationally recognized for your ability of being a farrier in the whole skill sets, but also with your wife being a veterinarian in large animals, in particular horses. How do you bring that to others? But we try to trigger on this particular podcast is, saying that it's unique, immensely rewarding. So if you are a person that grew up in that and loves that lifestyle, because it's immensely rewarding, hard work, but once you do it, it becomes part of you, very rewarding. And as you did, it's your life, especially with the uniqueness of Anya and the veterinarian, is saying that, do I see that your skill sets and together with Anya, your wife, as a veterinarian, is very, very unique? Is that not an opportunity for you to do more sharing that with others that aspire to go into that direction? And if not in schooling, on the internet, showing that in particular, because, to go along with you on a tour, always Anya, in terms of veterinarian, and being called at all hours of the day in a lot of cases, and because that's all part of it. You must love it to enjoy. You must love it is the foundation first, and then in terms of how do I acquire the skill sets, obviously, Olds and is one school, but we have to do more here, potentially even in northern British Columbia, and maybe in the College of New Caledonia. I'm not sure if they do anything there. If not, they should, in my opinion, because it's that niche that has need, and I believe to be able to go with you along the way and seeing in your mobile shop as to what do you do once you arrive there? What do you see? How do you go about it? You set up your shop there, as you do this afternoon at Lana's, at Rosendale, and you have your clients there. And so to go with you and to see that on the internet would inspire, I believe, others, because it requires the love for animals, period. The love for interacting with people that, animals are such a critical part of our lives, my Sharon and myself. They're part of our family, and so to have that comfort that people that working with them have that uniqueness that you and Anya have. How can we share that with others? How can we stimulate people in saying, I want to do this. I want to do this as a career.
Yeah, I think. I try to do my part because I've tried to. It's helped my business, but I've always tried to take apprentices from the colleges. So that's helped. I just had one girl was with me for 4 years, and now she's just moved back to Alberta and started her own and bought a beautiful rig for the back of her truck, and she's starting to collect her own, and I think she has a really good foundation because she worked with me for 4.5 years. I would like it for some of the older farriers that are around to be able to take apprentices, and that it creates challenges for sure. But in Western Canada, there's 16 students that come out of Olds, and there's 16 students that come out of Kwantlen every year. But there is not 32 places that they could actually go work. So they just kind of get left on their own, and maybe the top 5 or 6, there's only half a dozen, maybe a dozen farriers that you would want to learn from in all of Western Canada. And I would just like more of those guys to somehow pass their knowledge. I think that would be key. Have them learn how it could help their business and manage it, and then try to bring up some young people. I think that would be a good example. I think in the programs, more business stuff would be good, but it's hard when you're still trying to learn the skill to also think of business. But now I'm dabbling with this. This is a little bit of my new venture is a little bit of social media, a little bit of sharing, a little bit of there's podcasts, there's so many platforms now, so I'm trying to dabble in that to help grow that awareness. And if you make it a good business where it's reasonably profitable for you or for the farrier, you just offer a better service. You're just a more professional. You got more time. You offer a better service, and that's what people that have horses, like your horses are family. If I can sort of take care of my world with having a good truck and having a good apprentice and having all this run like clockwork, you can just offer better care. And I think that's what's needed. If I'm running behind on everything, you just can't offer as good of care. You can't educate. No. You can't continue educate. You can't. It becomes out of control.
So, if that then being said, that what would you suggest to the other young persons, male, female, because it makes no difference, that grew up in an environment like you did, or that have a love for horses, and a lot of people do, in particular females do, in particular I find usually, but also there are some males. But how do you bring them and to what would be your advice to somebody like that and saying, what I would do from here on in, you love to do it, you understand it more. I always say with everything that you do that, the finding your passion, I wrote a book about that. Finding your passion, living the dream. So for those that have found that to be their passion, how can they acquire the skill sets that then allows them, as it does obviously for you, is living the dream, hard work, and obviously have that relationship, but it takes time. How can they move forward and saying, what's the next step?
You got to find a mentor.
Yeah.
That's like, you I don't care what you do. If you pester the person and you work for free, you show up and you are eager, if you can find, because some of the older guys are a little apprehensive about taking someone, and
short-sighted a little bit.
Yes, so. you got to get a mentor. You got to get around someone that is successful, that has the talent, that has the skill. And if you're young, I don't care what you got to do. You got to show up at 6 a.m. You got to clean the truck. You got to, build the shoes. You got to get them.
It's hard work.
It is hard work.
Yeah.
But you got to get the mentor, and you got to get that. You gotta show the initiative to the mentor, and you somehow have to find that mentor that will be willing to say, okay, I see something in this person, and you just rise through the ranks when you have the right mentor.
And so, but attitude is so critically important. So for myself, I was born in 1940, went through the war years. We were liberated by the Canadian Army. It was April the 12th, 1945. We saw far too much, still PTSD is still part of my life, saw far too much that we shouldn't have seen, no food and all the other things that were bad, and then I had a dream. So when I was liberated by the Canadian Army, April the 12th, 1945, I knew from that time forward, at 5 years old, once I grew up, I would go to the land of my heroes, Canada, and I did. And then the other part is that I wanted to start with nothing, and I wanted to build a lumber mill. And so when I arrived here in Prince George, on the Greyhound bus, I had a suitcase, 3 books, 2 sets of clothes, and I counted my money at least 3 times. I had $25.47. But what I did have is attitude. I've always been positive, passion. Whatever I do, I give it 125%, and work ethic. And work ethic, even still today, at virtually 85. I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I always make my bed. I always think I'm late. But I love what I'm doing.
Yes.
And so, and that's the key, and that's the key to your success, and that's the key to my success. I work hard.
Yes.
And so, but in saying, okay, so, and I left school when I was 12, and so nearly 85, for 73 years I've been working hard, building. Yes, I built a mill, and I did all kinds of other things. And so, and saying, hey, John, are you living the dream? Absolutely. Every day to me is saying I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
Yes.
Living in a place like Canada, and then, but commitment, attitude, passion, work ethic, critically important. What I used to do, go to work, I'd be there 20 minutes before I get the first job that I had here in Prince George. I couldn't speak language, didn't know soul, didn't have a job. I was a cleanup man. Walked all the way to the BCR side. That took me about hour and 3/4.
Okay.
And to be a cleanup man, but I was there before anybody else was. Then I got promoted to a lumber pilot, and then from there, and then other things happened. But so finding that passion of the things that you like to do, become good at it. And then, as you said in Anya, when you have dinner, what do you talk about? Horses. And so because it's her passion, it's your passion, and you've been obviously very, very successful, still are. And so then it becomes a question. I know there are young people out there, male, female, that have that same dream, is finding that mentor that will help them along the way. Because that's the other part that I always say, if you see people that are doing things that you would like to do, talk to them.
Yes.
You know, and you will find in most cases they will talk to you.
Oh, yeah. You never get criticism from above. Usually if someone is here or better or where you want to be and you're here, you never get the criticism from them.
No.
You show a little bit of effort. I mean, and they help, but it's always the other way around. When you've got someone down here,
Yeah, I know. I've seen it.
They will criticize the heck out of you.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's. I think if you want to get somewhere, you got to show the effort or the positivity or the help.
Stay the course.
Yeah, and they always help you. I mean, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I go out of my way. If I have to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to make sure I'll be there.
Yep.
I find it now often, with all due respect,
Yep.
that with young people, we employ quite a few, and then we get days that say, what happened today? 6 of them didn't show up. Why?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so and then they say, well, you know, you're so lucky, you got everything, and you say, no. The harder you work, the luckier you get. That's how the world works. You know?
Chance favors the prepared mind. Yeah.
There you go. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
So let's get back to horses. So obviously more and more, people are seeing that as part of their lifestyle. We built a beautiful arena in North Saanich.
Okay.
Which is a fabulous place, as you well know.
Yep.
And we have a house there. So what I do is on Friday afternoons, I take the flight down to Victoria, and then I come back Monday morning and Prince George do the things here. But I always look forward to going there, having our house there, and then having the arena and the beautiful 50 acres property is an amazing property, and then the horses, and we love it.
Yes.
And then the other part is that kind of looking again around the world, finding horses in particular. So that's why we went to Spain to find a dressage horse for me, actually.
Yes.
And so we found a Lusitano, and then so we have Warmbloods and then Andalusians, and they are all uniquely different in a way. But they all have the same issues from, well-being perspective and hoof management. And then we work with people, both veterinarians. We're very lucky. They are not only friends of ours, but also have looked after our horses. So the relationships are very important.
Yes, absolutely.
So what else do you see happening now? And I'm amazed in the stuff that you do, building your hoofs as well, or the shoes as well. What is the other part that you have there that you took?
I brought this. This is just a blacksmithed steak flipper out of an old railway spike.
Okay.
So you can just turn your steak on the barbecue, and then I've got a bottle opener on the end here and it's just an old railway spike. So
oh my God.
Obviously farriery is my main business, but
it's a hobby, isn't it? Working.
Just this is some of the other things you can do. So sometimes for our banquets or for our association meetings, banquets, fundraisers, a lot of farriers will make something like this and give it to the auction just to help raise money for the association. So
amazing.
So I thought I would bring you something to just showcase what they
love
can do.
It.
And then I've got my business stamp on there.
Yeah.
Backcountry Blacksmiths. So it's out of an old rail spike. So
do you have a website?
A Facebook page. Like Backcountry Blacksmiths is my business name.
Okay.
So Facebook, Instagram. I don't have a website, but I do have all the social medias.
Because I believe that media, obviously, everything around media is changing. Everything around education, I believe, is changing.
Yes.
The way we used to educate is not being overly effective. I'm an example of neurodiversity issues are more and more part of it. I'm ADHD and have dyslexia. No wonder I failed grade 3 and I failed grade 7 3 times in Holland. They said, what are we going to do with this guy? I said, well, maybe send him to the mentally challenged school. He said, no, we're not going to do that. So they said, well, make him a furniture maker.
Yeah, okay.
So at 12 years old, 12 and a half years old, I went to the furniture factory. And developed then the dream, because we were liberated by the Canadian Army. I wanted to go to Canada, the land of my heroes. I was going to prove to me that I was just as smart as all the other ones, with all due respect. They went to college and universities, and obviously I've done reasonably well. But then the other part about it is I've been very proactive in terms of neurodiversity issues, and then becoming a communicator in terms of writing books. I don't know. Have you seen it? Have you seen any of my books?
I've seen some. Though. I haven't read them. I've listened to a bunch of the your podcasts, and
so before you go, I'm going to give for you and Anya. I sent a copy of all my books.
Oh.
So the one actually that I started with is people said to me, with all the stuff that I've been doing here, they said, you have such an interesting life, you should write a book about it. And writing books is not easy. So for about 20 years, I started writing, stopped writing, stopped. And then I knew about 6 years ago, when I was already in my mid-70s, I knew if I didn't do it now, it would never happen. So I started writing this book, Against All Odds.
Okay.
And it's not about...
Is that the first one?
The first one. It's not about how successful John is, just the opposite, going through the ups and downs. So this book took me 80 years to live it, 20 years to think about it, 2 years to write it. And so it's been quite successful. And then the second one that I did actually is this other one. By pure coincidence, what happened to me is that I walked into a bookstore here in Prince George in 1997.
Okay.
I was already here for 32 years.
Okay.
But I was not a good communicator.
Okay.
I didn't have the self-confidence, although people said, oh, you're so successful. I didn't feel that way. And the question for me was, who am I? And I picked up this book, Driven to Distraction.
Okay.
And I picked it up in January of 1997. And I started looking at it, written by Dr. Edward Hollywell, medical doctor. He's professor, and has written 18 books, 5 on distraction. He's ADHD and has dyslexia. Okay. And same as me. And so the more I started reading about it, ADHD, I'd never even heard of it. And I said, oh my God, that's me. So I wrote it in Dutch. Okay. Now I finally know who I am. Okay. And that was January 1997. Okay. And so the more I read about it, the more I looked at Google and other things about ADHD. It took me 5 years to go to my doc, and that delivered our 2 daughters and was a personal friend. And he said to me, hey John, why are you here? Yes. I said, I think I got ADHD. And so we checked it out, I do. Okay. And so I came to the conclusion after that it's a superpower. And so I have specialties that other people don't have. I'm not a good reader, but I'm a good writer. Okay. And then I was very, very good with numbers, and I have a very, very good memory. And so I felt a lot of people around the world, probably up to, I would say, 25 to 30% of the population, male, female, are affected by neurodiversity issues, including ADHD, dyslexia. So I felt I had to write a book about it. So I did. ADHD Unlocked. I'm going to give you a copy of that. That was the second one. And then the other one we already said, to finding your passion and then to live the dream is in my mind critical. Yes. And that's why the reason that I did this book is that I do a lot of presentations to younger people, high schools, colleges, universities, and I always talk to some of them afterwards and say, what you going to do when you finished here? Yes. And a lot of them say, I don't know. Yeah. I said, well, talk to people. Yes. You want to be a truck driver, talk to truck drivers. See what they're doing. Yes. Is it long haul, short haul? Should you own the truck, not own? What is about the business? Or you want to be a builder or, build houses, and talk to somebody that is doing that or is invested in it, or find out about the business. Or you want to be a doc, a lawyer, or an accounting person, find out about it. And then because it's so critically important that you develop early in your life, as you did, as I did, a direction you want to go in, and then with the objective, obviously, finding that passion, as you still do today, as I still do today, and Anya does, living the dream then becomes very, very possible. And as I said earlier, is after being in the workforce since I was 12, and that's nearly 73 years, the fair question will be, are you living the dream, John? I am, every day.
Yes. Yep.
You know, and that's why that one is so important, living the dream. And then the other part that triggered me here is that I saw it on a US television station, is that they said that 75% of the people that work in the United States, and I believe Canada is the same, do not like their jobs.
Oh, for
and
sure,
up to 70% of them are looking for another job.
Yes.
And so that is troubling. That's why I wrote the book.
Yes.
You know, so, and then the other one that I did, you fit.
Okay.
You have to be, right? And you are. I can see it.
Yep.
You got working hands. I did everything with my hand. I worked hard.
Yes.
You know, so less so now. But, you know, then, you know, something happened to me in my life in 2008. You know, I was already 68 years old, and I got a case of diverticulitis.
Okay.
A rupture of the colon.
Okay.
And that nearly killed me. I came that close.
Okay.
And so my wife is a vegetarian.
Okay.
You know, and so I didn't listen quite as good as I could have to her in terms of diet. And so then I was not abusive in terms of the stuff that I ate, but still I could have done better. I was also one of those guys that at the end of the year, I'm going to do this, that, and I'm going to buy a membership to the gym.
Yes.
And then 2 weeks later, I can find 100 reasons why I'm too busy to go to the gym. I know I had to change that. So I did. And so I started to look at diet. So I'm now probably close to 90-10, I would think. Yeah. And I do most of the shopping for my wife. If I go to the grocery stores, I stay on the outside. And I don't need the protein or super protein or the you know, processed foods that have small lettering. And,
My mom has always said that. Just go in and stay on the outside. That's where your vegetables, your eggs, meat, you know, everything good is on the outside. So you just need to do one big pass.
Exactly.
One big loop.
And then the other part that I did is I hired a trainer, and because my life is I'm not trying to be important, but it's always about meetings. And if I have a commitment, then I will be there. And so I did that 16 years ago.
Okay.
And then, you know, after about 6 years, somebody said, "Hey, John, have you ever thought about competing?"
Yes.
He said, "Me? Yeah." And I like that, so I did that. So this is one of the books that I did.
Okay.
You know, that is me living young, dying old.
Okay.
Even in the mid 80s. So I did that. Did bodybuilding here in physique. In Northern BC, came in second bodybuilding, third in physique. Qualified me for the provincials, then for the nationals, then for the Arnolds.
Okay.
And so now again, I'm training for 2026. That's the picture of me as I look today.
Okay.
And so, but it's all about not so much wanting to be a champion bodybuilder, but more fitness and having purpose.
Absolutely.
You know, so today probably I'm 90-10 veterinarian. And then in the going to working out, you know, I go probably 4 days a week, working with the trainer and getting ready for bodybuilding physique.
Okay.
But it's all about quality of life. That's what is important for me.
Yeah.
And still is today. So that's the one that I did. I'll give you a copy of that. And then the other part is that as you are, and as you already indicated, is so critically important. You have to be a good communicator. So, and so, I wasn't until in 1990. Somebody said to me, "I want you to go with me to Toastmasters."
Oh yes, yeah. And I went to short story. I'll not to interrupt. About 7 years ago. I was always part of our association, our Farrier Association, and I, came into the AGM one morning, had no plans, and somehow I got nominated to be the president of the association. I had no idea how to run a meeting. I was scared to death to talk in front of the membership. We had about 150 members. Oof. And I'm scared to death. So I'm like, I don't know how I got into this. I ended up being the president for 6 years of the Western Canadian Farriers Association. And I asked one of the old presidents, I was like, I don't know anything of what I'm doing. And he's like, well, sign up for your local Toastmasters. And I said, what the heck is that? So I signed up here in Prince George, and I went for about a year and a bit, and I learned a lot. But I was in one of the local Toastmasters clubs here, and it helped run meetings and talk and everything. Yeah.
And so there you have it. So then the same happened with me. Mm-hmm. I said, what is it all about? He said, oh, you would like it's communication. I said, is anybody going to ask me questions? He said, no, you just sit in and watch it. I said, okay. Middle of the meeting, somebody said, hey, John, tell us all. I said, oh my God, I'll never go back here. Yeah. But I did. Yes. I was a basket case. I could maybe in my companies talk to 3 or 4 people at the same time, but outside of that, I couldn't.
Yes. Yep.
And so obviously, so when I stayed for 10 years, became a distinguished Toastmaster, which is the highest level of Toastmasters. Yes. But I needed it, and it changed my life.
Yes.
And so, so for some of the people watching us, probably 10 million, 20, 30 million people have been involved in some form as you did, not only in North America, but around the world. And so, what is the first most important thing about Toastmasters? Become a good listener. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, speak on your feet, and then do presentations, including business meetings and all the other things that you refer to. So that's what it's all about.
Yes.
So that part is important, and then communication skills are very, very important. So I wrote the first book, and then from there on in I wrote more, and so now I'm working on my 6th one actually. Okay. This one is already a bestseller on Amazon. Okay. $1 billion communication skills. It's not about how to become a billionaire, although you can in the process, but what made them successful. Yes. In every single case is communication skills, either that they already had some, but fine-tuned it, but the basis is always being a good communicator. Yep. And that's what it is with everything in life. Yep. And that's what it must be more in learning in schooling. And I believe all of that is in transition as well as we speak.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, the education system. There's so many probably other facets of jobs, like you mentioned, and skills that you've mentioned that that aren't necessarily in school. Like I didn't think of being a farrier from school. No. I didn't necessarily. I was an okay student, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and then I've done a lot of things because they looked cool. Yeah. And when I saw the Farrier for my first time, I thought that's something I have to do. But
finding your passion.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, trades have always been important to me because that's what created success for me, and that's why I still have my name on one of the buildings at the College of New Caledonia, John A. Brink Trades and Technology Center, and I believe that's what we have to do more of, because the success in northern British Columbia and British Columbia period, we have amazing natural resources, we have amazing location, infrastructure all around us, but where the shortage will be, and when I gave that our presentation to the college that they named my building, and my name after that building, is that I said the challenge is not finding capital, the challenge is not finding markets, the challenge will be finding trades. And that's why I did it, but we have to go much, much further than that.
Yes, yeah. Well, with learning a lot of things like the online stuff, the online platforms now, I've seen lots of different types of courses offered online, you can learn a lot of stuff, and people put some pretty professional programs together of learning, and maybe that will grow in the future, or even if you can, an education system can do a lot of theory, and you have to do X number of hours and then come in for just certain practical portions. Maybe there's opportunities that way, because I've just seen some very professional systems that people have put together online.
Yeah. So what I still would like to see from you, because you got these amazing skill sets, this amazing career, obviously you have the passion, all those fundamentals for a lot of people. You turn it into being an artist, knowing people, being a communicator, and obviously being a farrier that takes care of the most important part of horses, in terms of their hooves and their well-being, is that to share that with many others, together with your wife Jana, on the internet and a website of some sort that deals with that in particular, so people can see you and your wife at work and saying, that's what I want to do. And I believe that's what we have to do more of, is showcasing those particular skill sets that are so unique and niches, where people can be successful but not knowing or not being able to find these mentors, but that would give mentors also the inspiration to help others, not worrying about, you're going to take my job, but rather looking forward at the bigger picture, what is important.
Yes, yeah, I think so. There's a lot of work available, like everywhere, like it does, as a farrier or as a vet. So we definitely need more. So I think that like what I try to do is have apprentices and try to educate them, and integrate that into our system, and a little bit of social media stuff. I've got a customer that's great at doing little promo videos, and she's done an excellent job. So I've tried to grow that a little bit, but you get busy and it waxes and wanes a little bit. But
on the other hand, though, Russell, you have you're a very good communicator. You have an amazing career together with your wife, and to share that with others and stimulate others, but also look at there are other opportunities that you can add to your already core of your business in particular, that are so unique in this area that is becoming increasingly more popular. And so where most of my interaction with around horses have been about the well-being of the horses and their hoofs in particular. And you guys specialize in all of that.
I think long term, it's a little, you got a lot of details to work through, but we would love to have have our own clinic one day, where one side is a vet side and one side's a farrier shop, and if we long term, if we could do something like that, that would be a goal that we both talk about.
I believe that you have the skill set, the unique skill sets, and and I believe that you will be very, very successful in that. Russell, it has been an interesting conversation. We could have done more. We have to do some more with you again, maybe once you get closer to that particular objective, and then bring your wife as well, Jana, as well. Do I say her name correctly?
It's Anya,
Anya.
Like Tanya without the T.
Oh yeah, Anya. Okay, I should know it. Russell.
Yeah, John, it was excellent to meet you. Thank you very
Pleasure.
much. It was excellent being on the podcast, and just really appreciate you taking the time and speaking with me. It's been great.
Very important, and it's topics that are important around the world, including Europe. And this one will be released within 2 hours. So it's available to you and your clients in the next 2 hours.
Okay.
And
awesome.
Then we'll send it around the world.
Excellent.
And give us your website once more.
Backcountry Blacksmiths on Facebook is and all the other social medias, but Backcountry Blacksmiths is where I post a bit of work and a bit of horse stuff and things like that.
And again, I show you this one is one of the shoes that I got as a present from Russell, and I bring it to Victoria, and I will be very, very proud of it. It's unique.
Yep.
And then the other interesting part that Russell does with, as being an artist, this used to be a nail for the railroad, but he has made out of it, we can have a bottle opener on this side, and the other one is that as you have meat on the
on a barbecue.
On a barbecue,
Yep.
to tilt it and lift it and over.
Yep.
So
you could use it if you are more vegetarian. You could still flip big eggplant pieces on the barbecue.
Exactly.
There you go.
So there we have, and they are available in the marketplace from you.
These ones I usually just do as gifts and as local association banquets for their fundraising auctions. That's usually when I make things like that.
Amazing. Well, you're an artist and amazing ability. Again, Russell, it was my pleasure.
Yes,
Take care.
thank you.